want to talk a little bit about your journey, because most of the students that are watching you today are in their third year. So they're in their final year of college, and next year they're going to be going out into the industry. And if we could find a little bit about your journey, how you got from Kolkata to being one of the most influential people in the wine business.
So growing up in India, learning about food, and then when I tasted wine in the early 90s in the UK, I was like, wow, this is amazing that you can make something so profound with grapes. And that kind of, stayed in my head. And then I went to culinary school in New York, in the CIA in Hyde Park, and in upstate New York. And that's when I kind of put two and two together. I'm like, wow, it's like interesting that you have such a amazing connection with food and wine. When I was in India, after I left Calcutta, I went to Manipal, the Welcome Group, Sheraton. There were 3 years, and after that, I went to New York, and it was just, because wine was not a part. I mean, maybe there's wine now in India, but back in 91 to 94, when I was in college, wine was not as present as it is now. So it wasn't really a part of the curriculum, and it was new to me. So when I came to New York, and it was just an eye-opening experience.
Do you remember what your first aha moment was when you had a wine? Because obviously those wines you didn't really remember, but was there one that sort of got you to that point where, wow, this is something pretty cool?
It was around Christmas of '96. I was a bar back at a restaurant called Rubicon with Sommelier Larry Stone, and I was cleaning the bar up, and he gave a wine blind to his assistant at the time, and she smelled it, tasted it, and she's like, oh yeah, this smells like, like Bordeaux, like Semillon, and she left the glass without tasting it, and she walked away. Mm-hmm. And then later on that night I was cleaning up, and Larry Stone was there. I said, Larry, can I clean this glass? Can I throw it? He's like, oh, you should taste it. Because she only smelled it. So I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And I smelled it, tasted it, and all light bulbs went off. And I'm like, mm-hmm. What the hell is this wine? And it was 86 Ravenel Chablis Leclos. And this is in 96, so I was 10 years old. And since then, the obsession was real. Yeah.
You went to the CIA. Was that to study cooking at that time still, or are you moved on to one?
Yeah, no, it was cooking, because there wasn't really a culinary program in India at the time. There was like, as I showed, the hotel management, and there wasn't like a dedicated cooking program. So after I went to Manipal, I decided to, but I really wanted to be a chef. I love cooking. I still today cook quite a bit, mostly for friends. I have a small restaurant here in Santa Barbara, which I'm responsible for the kitchen there. So, but I always wanted to kind of learn and kind of cook. And so when I went to the CIA, that was the idea. But until towards the last semester, I was like, yeah, maybe wine is more more what I want to do. And so I kind of changed gears right towards the end. Because when I went to Rubicon, I only had a 6-month visa, and I was supposed to work there for 6 months and then come back to India. And when I got there, I was so into like learning and studying and tasting that 5 months into my journey, I told Larry Stone, and I was like, Larry, I have to go back. I have to leave in a month because I got to go back because my visa expires. And as fate would have it, he's like, oh, we should sponsor you and get you a green card. So it wasn't my plan to stay more than 6 months because I don't want to like impose on someone to, but and if Larry hadn't told me that, oh, you can sponsor you, I would have gone right back home, which would have been fine. But I stayed. It was just fate. Yeah. So when I graduated from the CIA in Hyde Park, I had a pretty good GPA. I had got a wine scholarship from the Wine Spectator there, and kind of.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
So I had taught my class in wine, blah blah blah, whatever, and I guess maybe I interviewed well, but remember, when I started there, I started as a barback and a busboy and a food runner. I didn't start there as a sommelier because when I'm interviewed, I went there. I borrowed money from a friend. I flew to San Francisco just for an interview, not a job. And when I went for the interview, and I was interviewing for a sommelier position, and the manager's like, "Oh no, we don't have a sommelier job, but we can offer you a food runner, barback position." I'm like, "Great!"
Reality kicks in.
I'll take that. Because my goal was to learn. Even today, all our goal is to learn. So I was like, I want to learn, and I'm like, great. I'll learn. I'll work for 6 months, and I go back home. So it wasn't like I didn't really have, and that's what I did. So I went there and I worked all day, every day. I worked 6 days a week. And restaurants closed on Sundays, and I did whatever I need to get done. And yeah.
IIHM. For a great hospitality career, call 98310 50,000.